Without any further ado, I'll get started. I'll bring in people as people show up. Let me just set things up here. All right. Okay. There we go. Okay, so I'm doing a presentation on how to run a week-long drama camp. And I'm not sure if you've all done this before or not, but really quick, if we have questions or anything like that, please just type in the chat. I'll get to them at the end. We can talk about it uh, afterwards. I've got time. So I'm going to work as somewhat quick. I don't want to talk too fast, so I'm not under too much of a time constraint here, but I want to keep it between 30 and 45 minutes. So really quick, let me see, there we go. The agenda of what we're going to be doing today, we are going to be talking first about who I am, why should you even trust that I know what I'm talking about, setting up your own camp, running a camp, my basic process and everything that I do to get camps going. The director's toolbox, which is actually quite important. It's something that is very helpful to most people, and then Q&A at the end. So, without any further ado, let's see. There we go. First of all, who am I? Why should you actually trust me? I'm a playwright, first and foremost, of playing with plays. This is my business. I've written over 46 titles. Orpheus and Eurydice is actually out as of today, this morning. So yay, it's another one down. I've sold over 100,000 copies. Actually, I'm closer to about 140,000 now. I've been doing this since 2003. I've directed over 150 classes, and these classes consist from summer programs, after school programs, homeschool programs, in school programs. So I've done a gambit all around. So let's see. Okay, I'm also a teacher and a coach. I teach like I'm doing today. I teach teachers, I teach parents, after school programs, how to run camps, how to integrate Shakespeare into their classes, how to run their own drama programs, whether in school or out of school. I also teach parents how to do backyard Shakespeare, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And as well as I do some speaking engagements. I was doing a presentation to the Amazon KDP um, uh, group. I've done presentations at theater groups, homeschool, book clubs, libraries. I also do presentations on how to publish and market books, as I've been doing self-publishing for a couple decades now. And I do in-class Shakespeare presentations to get kids all hyped up and excited about Shakespeare. Woo! So, but what we're here for today, and believe me, I can ramble and ADD off to any different subject. So I'm going to try to stay on a subject here. Is a week-long drama camp, and the premise, the foundation of this camp, is really based on playing with play scripts. These scripts are basically 15 to 25 minutes in length. They're highly flexible casting, and I'll show you that in a little bit. This is drama camp, not theater. This is not a big, elaborate event. This is 1 week. It's fun. It's engaging the kids. It's getting them excited about summer camp, not education, about theater, about classic plays. It's a week long. Mine are based on about a 3 hour per day. And these 3 hour per day is that's just what it works for me. You can do more, you can do less, as well as if you want to do a this is I've done them as like 8 week programs where it's 1 or hour and a half once a week. You can easily take this stuff and kind of parse it out over that time. It's slightly different, but it still works. And yes, when it's a 1 week camp, my biggest concern was always, are they off book by Friday? And yes, they are off book by Friday. We meet Monday. They don't even get their parts till Monday night. We do our first read through on Tuesday morning. We perform Friday at the end of the day. So yes, they are off book, believe it or not. There are some tricks that I do to help make this happen. So venues. Let's first talk about this is essentially, going to think of this as a business. This is your business that you're running, your own little drama business. There's several different places you can do this camp. I've done them in every single one you've seen here. The one I always lean back on is Parks and Rec, and Parks and Rec, especially if you're new to this, is great. And the reason it's great is because one, they'll usually give you some type of location. Now, you might find a small stage with whatever Parks and Rec you're working with. It may be a gymnasium. I've done both with Parks and Rec. But the nice part about Parks and Rec is they will manage your enrollment. They'll manage all the payments. They'll advertise for you. They have a database of parents looking for programs for their kids already. So you're leaning on all of that. The catch is they'll take 30 to 40%. So it's a pro con. You're paying for that service. The other piece is if you're starting out new, don't have much of a reputation, you don't have a database of kids to lean on for your classes, Parks and Rec is a great starting point. Church, school, dojo, yoga, libraries. Libraries usually have like free rooms that you can use. All of these, if you have your own database of kids and you want a place just to perform, you can do these. Some of these are for free. Some of you teachers can use your classrooms or your stage at your school. Um, like I said, I've done in all of these. Elks Lodge, Vets Hall, Oddfellows, Masonic temples, they all have places. And then you can always do your own backyard. As you can see on here, it's like, I mean, this was a class, this is a middle school homeschool class. There was about 8 of them, and everybody brought blankets and beach chairs and had a little picnic, and they watched the show and the kids performed. So that was a lot of fun too. So that's part of backyard Shakespeare is what I call it, but it can be any play. Okay, these plays that I do, they're playing with plays. Why playing with plays? And you can use any play you want for your theater program. That's totally up to you. Why playing with plays? A couple main reasons. One, they're basic one-act plays. They're 15 to 25 minutes in length. Every single script is formatted the exact same way. There's 3 plays of the same play. So if you do Hamlet, there's a small version, medium, and a large for different size groups. Everything's very flexible. And I say that because as you look at this is Midsummer. This is the 25-minute version. So if you have 15 kids or 20 kids that sign up for your class, because you don't know how many are going to sign up. You may have 7, you may have 15, but I will tell you who you can double and who you can work with. I don't even pick which script I'm doing until the day class starts. And I'm like, all right, we're doing the medium. There's 11 kids today. So that's the real advantage. It makes it very flexible. Most of it is me being funny with famous lines sprinkled throughout. Here's a Romeo and Juliet, just a snippet, Oh, Romeo, oh, Juliet, it's almost morning. I have to leave. Do you have to? I must be going to live or stay and die. And I really prefer the staying and, living thing. Well, you're still here. You better leave. And when I say leave soon, I mean now. It's just funny. It's melodramatic. And that highlighted gray is actual Shakespeare script. So they will get a taste of the actual script. My scripts are designed for ages 7 to 14, but don't kid yourself. My daughter, when she was 6, was already reading and she was a ham. You know your kids. And teenagers are interesting because they know melodrama. They can be melodramatic. So I have a lot of high schools that actually take 2 to 7 of my plays. They'll make one long play out of it, and they'll make and they know how to really pull the humor out of the language as much as the slapstick and the melodrama. So they make it really funny. So it's up to you, whoever you want in your camp. And remember, it's your camp. So currently I have 43 titles, 17 Shakespeare, 26 are classics. I just did Comedy of Errors and Orpheus and Eurydice. And I have several full-length plays now, but that's not for a camp. What to charge for your 1-week camp? Now, this varies by location. If you're in Chicago, LA, San Francisco, a major demographic, things are going to be more expensive. Research what other camps are charging, not drama camps per se, but other camps in a sense of what, you're basically babysitting these kids. So what are they charging to run a camp for the same period of time? You want to charge something appropriately the same. Because if you undercharge, you're going to look like you're devaluing yourself. If you overcharge, you're going to be pulling people out. But you also, it depends on your reputation. If you don't have much of a reputation, you might want to bring it down a little to make sure you pull in customers or kids. So what I do is I personally in the area, I'm more of a rural area, so I don't charge as much, but still I charge 225, and you can, if it's Parks and Rec, they'll collect it for you. If it's you, you can collect it yourself. I always advise having them pay ahead of time so they're invested in it and they don't just bail. However, it's this is up to you. This is your business to run your way. I also charge a material fee that covers the cost of scripts, licensing, any supplies. And also, if you do Parks and Rec, they don't take the percentage off your material fee. The parents pay you that cash on the first day. But if you do some basic math at 225, I only do 12 kids because according to my wife, I have really poor child management skills. And personally, I agree with her. I can't manage it, but I have seen many teachers do 20, 30, even 40 students in a camp. And I can't manage that. I think they're crazy, but they get other helpers, parents to help, and they'll do like the younger kids will be ensembles or they'll throw in little music pieces so that the kids will come in and do things. And that's up to them. It's their camp. But if you do just the basic 12 times 225, that's $2,700 for a 1 week class. Parks and Rec takes their cut. I'm left with $1,900. If I run 5 camps in the summer, which I do, I clear about 10 grand. Now, there's a lot of people that run 2 camps in a day, and I've done that before, and it's very doable. And if you have even more kids than 12, suddenly you're making a decent side hustle. So it is a way to make some money if you want to. Some people don't charge for their camps, and that's fine too. Um, One of the things you have to remember when running your camp is parent management. And I say this, it's very important because you're really selling to two customers. The first one is the parent. The parent has to buy into you and your program and believe it's good for their kid. The second, when the kid shows up, they got to buy in that this is fun. Otherwise, they will not come back the next time. So you are selling to two people. Parent management is important. These are some of the things I do, and I'll touch on parent management again. Um, I I set expectations for the parents. I email them 1 or 2 days before so they know what their kids are going to do. They know what the week schedule is. They know that they've got to sign them in and sign them out. You're responsible for these kids. You want to confirm the contact information on the first day. You want to let them know out of the gate, this is the performance time. Because I can't tell you how many times people are like, oh, I'm going to be out of town. Well, then I'll adjust my casting appropriately. Also, what you expect, bring a snack, material fee, the rehearse at home, memorize lines, help with costumes if you want. Um, and also, can you sign the media release waiver? And I say this, and this is what mine looks like. I say this purposely because I want to um, sign it so I can use it for social media. I can use it for different pieces of sending it out later, and also to send them to the parents and the family members later. Now, you may not have your own media release form, but that's what I'm here to help you with. So, Director's Toolbox. This is probably the most key piece that is going to be the most helpful for you. Now, that media release form, you find that in the Director's Toolbox. Now, where's this Director's Toolbox? Glad you asked. Because if you go to my website on any page at the very top, you'll see next to Plays and FAQ, Director's Toolbox. You click on that and it'll send you to a page. And this is just a screenshot of it. But there's a ton of bullets on here that sets up all these things to help you run a drama program, from warm-up games to my camp schedule to this media release form. And the nice part is the media release form, I put it in a format that you can edit yourself. So you don't have my logo, you don't have my name. Go in, tweak what you want for your business, and then use that as your media release form. There's all sorts of links to different pieces. And as I touch on them later in the presentation, I'll say Director's Toolbox so you know where to go. So it's a very, very helpful tool. Now, hold on a second. The Director's Toolbox, in there you can find my basic camp schedule, which I'll show you in a bit, warm up and drama games, cast sizes for each play, which I'll show you, audition sheets, which are super simple and you can tweak them any way you want. Again, they're editable, so you can tweak it yourself. Character line counts, and I'll show you this later too. It's very important when casting. It makes it a very helpful tool. Coloring sheets. Sometimes you want kids are sitting in the background. I run camps by myself a lot, so I need something for them to do. And especially for the younger kids, especially Jungle Book, I'll have all the characters as coloring sheets. You can download those for free and they can color them in. There's a link to this presentation. Well, not yet, but there will be in about 2 days and more. So, day one, let's just look at day one here. So, the 2 days are the most important are day one and day five. Day one, because really they don't have parts yet, so you're occupying them for 3 hours. And I consider day one, the entire 3 hours of mine, to be the audition time. So, we do a name game. I do a zombie name game, or I'll take a ball and toss it around and do a name game. But the zombie game's super fun. You get them all in a circle. Somebody's a zombie in the center, and they have to start zombieing over to somebody, and if they have to say somebody else's name so they don't get tagged. So the zombie turns, has to find that person, go to that person. They have to say somebody else's name. So this goes around, and they learn the names very quickly because they don't want to be the zombie. But there's all sorts of games in the director's toolbox. You'll see the link. Warm-ups. This could be tongue twisters, stretching, whatever warm-ups you define for your drama program, you can do. I sometimes do a quick telling of the story, especially if they don't know the story. Um, I mean, it's amazing. This is all classic literature, so a lot of them don't even know these great novels or these great plays. So I'll do a quick telling so they have an idea. And then I do a read through, and this read through is critical how you do it. I hand out literally random parts, and I tell them this is not your part. It's a random read through so we know the parts that exist. I sit them in a circle, and I literally go next to me, and I go one, two, and I just read them from top to bottom. Whether a boy gets a girl or a girl gets a boy or whoever, it doesn't matter. And it's actually a lot more fun when boys get girl parts and girls get boy parts. And the nice part is sometimes even the smaller parts, kids start getting like ownership because they're reading it. And so they'll start saying, that's the part I want. So that's the part that they end up getting. And that's the part they request. So it's really helpful when you do it that way. Audition sheets. I have an audition sheet again in the director's toolbox. Top 3 to 5 parts. And I say 3 to 5 because if you have 12 kids, you can list the top 3 and be able to figure out who's doing what pretty easily when you cast. If you have more than just 3, if you have 15 kids, 20 kids, you can do 5. The one thing I always tell you in the auditions, though, the one thing I always say is I'm like, look, how many Hamlets can there be? One. So if there's 6 of you, just keep in mind there's only one Hamlet, so you won't get that part. I set their expectations right now, right at that point. So I tell them have other parts ready to go that you're okay with. And I don't let them turn in something that says Hamlet, 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 and they will try. So auditions. And now this is the hook. This sets the whole week. My auditions are different than any auditions you will ever see. And this is for me the fun part, the part that gets the kids like going, this is gonna be a fun week. So I'll tell you those in just a minute. Drama games. So day one, again, you're occupying time. So you can do lots of different drama games. I love Ships and Sailors myself. If you've never played it, it's a lot of fun. It gets the kids running all over the stage. And if you're in a gymnasium, they run even farther. Remember, these kids got wiggles. You can't have them sit and read all the time. You got to get the wiggles out of them. All right. That afternoon and evening, you will cast and email the roles so they know what to expect in the morning when they come in. Auditions. Again, not your boring everyday auditions, but this is about laughter. This is about creative energy. This is all about creativity. I'm a huge proponent of kids being creative. So, very simple. Give me your best death. So, I always explain to them, I'm like, listen, it's Shakespeare. People die. It's tragedy, Greek tragedies. People die. Give me your best death. And you can tell by those kids, they're having a horrible time dying on stage. So it is a lot of fun. But I also couple this with give me your best scream. And one of the techniques I always use is if there's one kid that's a talker all the time and or always moving around, I say, I need a volunteer, and they always volunteer. And so I bring them up and I'm all, you're a dead body. So they have to lay down. And typically they start talking again. And I'm like, dead bodies don't talk. Stay quiet. And so they have to stay there and not move. And then people come in, you found a dead body in a room. Let me hear your best scream. And by the way, wear your earplugs, because if they haven't hit puberty, it hurts your ears. So give me your best villain. Kids love to be villains. So evil laugh, witch's cackle, teach them how to do one. I always teach them the basic, simple. I have them stand up, put your hands out, bend your knees, look up a little, give me a moi. Now give me a ha, ha, ha. Now, moi, ha, 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 and bounce while you do it. So the kids get to feel for it. And then they come up and they try to do all sorts of different evil laughs, and just give them examples and fun. There's nothing wrong. It's all fun. And then at the end, give me your best melodramatic cry, because that's hilarious too. And then sometimes in the end, when I have a little more time, I have them say, hey, give me something that has all four of them in. So they'll run a little skit or something. Have fun with it. Make it yours. This is my basic schedule. Again, it's in the director's toolbox. You don't have to take notes, but there's a couple points in here that I want to just kind of show you. First of all, oh, I think I'm going, nope, that's right, that's right. So the first line on Tuesday, we've already talked about the first one. Yes, bathroom break. It's always important. Send your kids to the bathroom, but that's not the point here. Highlight the lines. Blue is what you do. I have a thing called blue is what you do, yellow is what you know. So if blue, if you're coming in, you're exiting, you're dying on stage, those are all actions. You're highlighting them in blue. If it's your lines, you're highlighting them in yellow, so they can see when they come in and when they leave. It's just a visual cue for them. The next thing I want you to see is on Wednesday at the end of the day, costume fun. I use this as kind of a carrot. If we can run through our first and second run through, then at the end of the day, here are some costumes. It's just free for all fun time. It's just a way to keep them moving on that. And you can hold them out and go to Thursday morning if you want, but it's kind of nice to have that hanging out. Thursday afternoon or towards the end, the second run through, this is where I do no director help. And this is critical for a good performance. I want you to stop giving them cues, stop helping them, stop telling them to come on and come off. You're going to sit back and it's going to be painful. You're going to watch them just kind of like stand up there, not knowing their lines. But guess what? Kids will start to help each other. And then the second time they run through it, they'll be like, oh, I blew that line. I need to know that line. They'll start how to save themselves. And by the time show comes around, it's smooth. It relieved so much stress from when I first used to do it and worry about lines all the time. Now I'm like, hey, it is what it is. And the last one here is the photo shoot and cast autograph. So if you purchase actual scripts, at the end of the script, there's a page that says cast autographs. This is important. These are keepsakes, the scripts. These are things that the kids keep as mementos to remember your class and that activity. Because let's face it, how many of you remember doing plays when you were in school? I do, and I still have some of those scripts, and I still have signatures from the kids that were in that cast. Have them sign that. It makes it so much more fun. It makes it personable for them. The other piece I do is a photo shoot, as you can see in there. And the photo shoot's important. You're in dress, the costumes are there, parents are not there yet. So that photo shoot, you can stage all the photos to be, any which way. Bring out the villains, Three Musketeers, whatever you want to do, stage it. Yorick, hold your skull. Okay, turn this way. It's not randomly while they're performing. You're staging stuff. And the nice part is you send this to the parents, because the parents get to have these photos. Make sure you bring every kid in at least one or two photos. Don't want to forget a kid. So that's important. It also helps when you do the show that parents aren't up taking pictures all the time. You tell them ahead of time, hey, I'm doing a photo shoot. So this way, they're not blocking people behind them with their cameras. So that's another piece that I do. Let's see. Day 5 showtime. I'll go through this really quick. This is where you do dress rehearsal. You get in dress. You do a first run through. You're not helping them. You're letting them do it, deal with it. Their props and everything. They go out. They forget their props. Well, that's how we learned where your props are. Photo shoot, like we just did. Okay, it's for the parents. Um, Cast autographs, like I just spoke about. You do the second run through. You just run through it again. Again, you're not helping them, but guess what? It's going a lot smoother now. Take a break, play a game, drama game, have them run around, get the wiggles out. Third run through or not. If you have a play that's lasting a little long, you may only do two. If your kids feel like, they're kind of burnt, they don't want to do it, have play games, have fun. This is your camp, your call. And then this is something I always do before I let in the parents. I put the kids on the stage and we all line up and I'm like, give me your loudest scream just to let out that anxiety. And they just scream. And then I do it again. And then I tell them this really key story. I'm like, guess what? I've done over 150 of these plays. And you know how many have gone perfect? Zero, zilch, none, ever. And guess what? This one's not going to either. And that's okay. Because guess what? We're here to have fun. So go out there and have fun. The whole point of the scream and telling them that story is to pull the pressure off of them to relax and just have fun with it. Okay, then you let in the parents. At this point, let's see. Okay, yeah. You let in the parents and you can start talking with them. I always set up a tripod in the center because I video every single show. And I do it for two reasons. One, again, the parents will be videoing the entire time. And you tell them, I am videoing it. I will send out a recording because one, you don't want them blocking other parents with the cameras. But two, more important to me, is I want to let grandma and grandpa who's out of state, I want them to be able to see their grandchild. I want the parent who had to work that day, who couldn't come see it, I want them to be able to see it. So, and it's a way to get your name in front of them again. So you start recording and don't forget, because I have forgot before and it's embarrassing to run on stage and have to go do it. So don't forget to hit record. All right. Then you perform. I always start off with a little spiel. I go out to each kid. And I literally look behind stage. I'm like, are all your parents here? Yes. Are all your parents here? Yes. Okay, cool. And then we run. And then I come up and I leave. In a commercial, and I'll tell you a little bit more about commercials in a bit. But I now, over the last like 3 years, have been doing commercials, 5 years probably. Huh. I've been doing commercials every single show, and I'll tell you a little bit more about them, but it's a sweet way to get all your kids involved. On a cast party, this is up to you. I don't usually do them, but if you want to, don't put a lot of pressure on yourself. Make them simple. Have parents bring something, have it afterwards. But remember, cast parties, you got to clean up. So it's up to you if you want to do it or not. Costumes. All right. Well, first of all, I just got to tell you a story. That's Shere Khan. He's in a pink flamingo floaty. This is what I'm talking about, creativity. And I want to make it very clear. If you do one of my plays, there is no need to be verbatim on my scripts. It is very important that your kids' creativity comes first. If they want to tweak something, do something different, say a line a different way, use actual Shakespeare text, do it. It is your play. It is their fun. Don't worry about me. Then here's the reason why. This pink floaty with Shere Khan, there's a line in Jungle Book when we were doing it, and it says, hey, Mowgli, Shere Khan's waiting for you down at the ravine. And all the kids during the reading were giggling. Dude, I've done this play like 4 times. Why are you giggling? I've never seen anyone giggle at this part. And they're like, no, no. We read the line again. They giggled again. I'm like, stop. What's going on? And they said, oh, he's down at the ravine. He's in his floaty. I'm like, what are you talking about? Turns out in our county, there's a big water slide park called the Ravine. Well, this won't play anywhere else, but in our county, in our city, it's pretty funny that all the kids, the ravine comes up. So suddenly, in the fight scene, Shere Khan comes out in a pink floaty, and they're like, dude, your floaty still on. He's like, oh, sorry. Goes backstage, takes it off, comes back. Then they have their big fight scene. But it made the play theirs. They were invested in it. They went out and got the floaty. They went up, and there's a sign in the back, which you can barely see. This is the ravine. They made that. So creativity is important. Keep your costumes simple. This is 1 week. I always tell parents, like when I'm first starting the play, I'm like, hey, just so you know, these kids met Monday. They're off book today. So, there may be flaws. Set their bar really low so you can clear it easy. And it makes you look better. It makes them look better. And it sets your parents' expectations here and you meet them here and you blow them away. So keep your costume simple because you don't want to make it complex. Rate a dollar store, simple props, accessories. I was just in a dollar store an hour ago. And if you're looking at Wizard of Oz stuff, Shamrock stuff is everywhere right now. So you can just raid stuff for the Emerald City if you want for cheap. Amazon online. I got a monkey, what is it? A Curious George monkey mask for Jungle Book once through there. Party City, Oriental Trading, although I think Party City is actually closed now. So might have to take that part off of this presentation. Goodwill, thrift store are great for costumes, except Goodwill, typically they don't let their stuff out till October, but small thrift stores will keep it backstage. Just go in, talk to them, or back in their storage, and you might be able to look at some of their stuff. This might not help you for this summer, but Halloween sales on November 1st, you can go to the Walmarts, the Targets, the Goodwills, and you can find everything for 50 to 75% off. So you can build your own drama. I've got a whole shed of, typical drama teacher. I got a whole shed of costumes. Um, have them bring their own costume. I was doing Beowulf, and this girl was playing one of the parts, and she really wanted this Alice in Wonderland costume she had, and I'm like, go ahead. She wanted it really bad. Her parents loved it. I didn't care. She had fun. The cast had fun, so that's all that mattered. Caesar sheets, bed sheets, and I'll tell you this one a little bit more. There's a trick to getting inexpensive free sheets. Treasure Island, ripped jeans. Jungle Book, masks or makeup, super simple. Macbeth, homemade kilts. Yes, I have seen SpongeBob on a kilt. So make them yourselves, just wrap them around your waist. Keep it easy. Again, back to parent management. These are the different touch points for your parents. And it's important that you keep them invested. Email your roles Monday afternoon. Daily before and after the program, touch base, say hi. This is where you talk about any behavior problems or challenges you've had. And there's always one or two kids that might have something going on. You just want to be upfront and honest with them that you worked with them on it. Email after the performance. You're going to send the video link, the photo shoot link, but all these are private. A thank you for doing it. By the way, I've got 3 classes coming up. If you want to sign up, here's the links. So you're promoting your business. And also the emails are very important because if you do this next year, you do a Christmas camp, spring camp, you can touch the same people because if the kids had fun, they'll sign up again and they'll want to come back for you. Fill time. Some things to do while you're on stage. If you're by yourself and you're on stage, there's other things that you want the kids to keep them occupied. Here are some of the things that I do and other teachers have done. Obviously, snack times. They can play drama games. Go outside if you have a closed area that you can keep them safe. Arts and crafts. Again, rate a dollar store or a craft store. Have them out. I usually have butcher paper taped down on the floor and some pens. And I'm like, just draw. Doesn't matter to me. You can do actor bios where they write about themselves and answer some questions. Again, in the director's toolbox, you can find that. Edit it for yourself. Create a playbill. Some kids just want to create a playbill and they can list all the cast members. Create a poster that you put up outside of your venue so the parents can see it. And you can hang the actor bios up there as well. You can do a Shakespeare insult generator. That looks like this. And this is free. It's on my site. Director's Toolbox. I think it's in there. You can find it there. But basically, you take one word from each column, say it with a little angst, and you've got your own Shakespeare insult. I've had kids take these insults and integrate them into their parts. So they add them in and they're saying them during the play too. And that's a blast as well. I always tell teachers, hey, have your kids insult your teacher and raise your grade from your vocabulary. Let's see. Draw backdrops. Get the craft paper. You can buy them at dollar stores. You can get like 8-foot craft paper. Tape them down. I use painter's tape or strike tape. Tape them down and have them, if it's a forest scene, draw trees. If it's the ocean, draw waves, whatever you want, a castle, you name it, just draw it. Tape it up in the background after the play. Real simple. Have them play with makeup. Get some makeup kits, put them out, give them challenges each day. Let's see, animal faces. Let's see scars. Let's see stitches from like Frankenstein, whatever you think of. Oh yeah, rehearse your lines. That's always a good one. And maybe do an epilogue. I was talking about commercials. Some people actually do an epilogue 5 years later, and kids will write their own scripts. And I'll touch on that with the commercials in a bit. Everyone's asked me, when I'm starting to do this, what are the easiest plays to perform when I'm first starting out? Caesar is by far the easiest for a couple of reasons. It's a relatively short script and togas. Everybody wears bed sheets. Easy. So, and here's the trick with the bed sheets. Go to your local hotel, go to the area where they do all the cleaning and the maintenance of the bed sheets. And what you'll find is that they'll have a stack already folded and washed of bed sheets they can't use because they might have been slightly torn or there was a stain on them, but they'll give them to you for free. And then you just take them, wrap them around, tie them off, and boom, you got a toga. And if they're shorter kids, you just cut them to length. Works great. I've done it several times. Jungle Book's an easy one. It's easy costumes like we talked about before. And everyone's always on stage. You can have an ensemble. If they're not wolves, they're monkeys, or they're both whenever those scenes come up. Christmas Carol. This one's nice for two reasons. It is a relatively short and easy play to do, and you can do it every year. Kids will sign up for it again and again to get different parts. Midsummer and Macbeth. Midsummer is an ensemble piece. A lot of the lines are about the same length. Macbeth, Midsummer are both relatively short plays. These are some things that work for me. Like I told you, hands off the last 2 to 3 rehearsals. Stop helping, stop kiting. Just watch. I know it's hard. Just stand back and watch, please. Trust me, it will help you. Commercials. This photo, here's a great picture. We were doing Frankenstein and the kids, one of the commercials. So what I do is if I have some kids who have smaller parts in the play, I'll say, you guys have smaller parts, but you guys get to do the commercial, which means they write the commercial, they direct their own commercial, they rehearse their own commercial. So even though they got a smaller part in the play, they still got a big part in the performance. Now, this particular one was the Frankfurter 5000, and they came on with some spiel. There was like 3 or 4 of them. They're like, tired of your pitchforks breaking at your monsters? Get the Pitchfork 5000. And they had some spiel and they were selling and they made this giant cardboard pitchfork. So it was hilarious. It was funny. The parents like it. I've seen Three Musketeer bars get thrown into the audience. I've seen Midsummer Ice Cream. I've seen Pirates Insurance sung by like Geico and Allstate. Just there's so many different ones. Shake Spotify. It's a Henry V one. There's so many of them, and it's their creativity. You be sure you review it though, because the kids will come up with stuff that are not appropriate. Just remember that. All right, character line count. This again, director's toolbox. This is important. This one happens to be Macbeth. There's 3 versions of my play in each script. This tells you how many lines each character has. So when you're casting, you use this to figure out who's going to get what parts and how many lines they have. Now, the nice part is if you're doubling up roles, somebody has 2, maybe 3 parts, you're like, okay, cool. They have 16 plus 10. They've got 26 lines. Great. This helps you figure out how many lines. This is very important. I have it for every single one of my plays. If you find a play that's not in there, email me. I'll have it updated within 24 hours. Let's see. Okay, this one. This is the number of actors to perform a script. So I have all of my plays listed on the left, and then on the right is how many actors for each of those plays. And you'll see, like Julius Caesar, you can do as little as 5 actors. But then you get to Midsummer, and it's as little as 9 actors. So that's kind of where it is. It tells you the minimals. It also tells you the max of a lot of these plays. Some like Treasure Island, you can do up to 25, but then some Much Ado, you can do up to 20. So Macbeth up to 17. So it really helps you figure out what plays you want to do and also how many kids to allow in your camp. Let's see what else here. Split roles. Okay, this is important. I do this for especially summer camps. If I'm doing like week long where I'm doing once a week, I don't split the roles. They have plenty of times to memorize lines. But 1 week, you start maxing out some of these kids on some of these parts. For example, when you look at Macbeth here, he's got twice as many lines as Lady Macbeth and the other characters. So I may say, guess what, kids, in the beginning, guess what? We're going to have two Macbeths. One does the first half, one does the second half. This does two things. It gives two kids the lead part. It also allows you to cast more. And also it lets kids relax a little bit on knowing their lines. It's important because remember, summer camp. I had a kid once in camp and they were Scrooge. And she says, all my friends are playing and I'm always on stage. I'm like, you're Scrooge. You're in every scene. I know, but I want to play with my friends. So just keep in mind, they're there for your camp, for drama, but they're also there for their friends. So that's another good reason to have big parts split. I've seen some teachers take like Alice in Wonderland, Peter Pan, they'll do it into three because those will be up into 70 up to 100 lines. So you really want to divide those to make it a little more digestible in that 1 week period. Then, and what I tell the audience right before, by the way, we're going to have two Macbeths today. So if you see a change, you know it's coming. If you set their expectations, they don't think about it when it happens. And then I tweak a line like the new Macbeth will come on and maybe it goes from a tall female to a shorter male. And I'll be like, Macbeth, you cut your hair. Yes, I did. And then they'll go on with the play. So have fun with it, make a joke about it. I always point out the ridiculous to have fun with it. It's the best way to do it when you split roles. Let's see. Play to the kids' strengths. My son, he's on the spectrum, but he was in a lot of my plays and he's killer at guitar. And the nice part of what I did is when we did Jungle Book and he was there, he came out with his guitar and he did an opening song, a verse from Welcome to the Jungle, and then at the end he sang "We Are Family" on the guitar, and then he also did Bare Necessities, but don't tell Disney. Shh, they don't. Okay, so scripts and performance licensing. If you use my plays, my scripts, $8 each for the paperback. You order these through me. The thing is, it's 2 to 3 weeks for me to get them to you. If you need them fast, Amazon, $10, 2 to 3 days. It's up to you. The digital are $5 each, and this is all based off if your kids are paying for your camp. There are some people who don't charge the kids to be in the camp, and I have tons of teachers who use them in their classroom where they're not paying to be part of the classroom. Those use the educational rate on the digital, and those are $2 per copy. Um, Performance rights. If it's a paying audience or the audience is doing it as a donation, or if it's a competition, it's $45 per show. If it's a non-paying audience, which summer camps are typically non-paying audiences, it's a pay what you can rate. I get it. Budgets are thin on this. You're trying to make some money. So if you can do 45, awesome. If you can do zero, stoked for you. If you can do anything in between, fantastic. It's up to you because you're not charging the audience, so I'm not going to charge you to perform it. So that's totally up to you. We're getting close to the end, so I'm going to end with "Nothing will come of nothing" from King Lear. In other words, you don't have to do anything, but you're going to get nothing. So if you don't try, you're not going to get anything. So try it. That being said, here's my contact information. You all have my email because I emailed you. You can go to my website to get to the director's toolbox, playingwithplays.com. You can email me at Brendan at Playing With Plays, Facebook, Shakespeare for Kids. I say socials now at BP Kelso because you never know what social you're going to be on tomorrow. They're all crazy right now, right? Contact me with any questions, and let's open this up for questions. Let's see. Is there any questions here? David, any thoughts on liability insurance, safety waivers, or parents? Um, Yeah, no, liability insurance. You can do liability insurance. I have liability insurance. For me, it's about $600 or $700 for the year, but it's different by state. Contact your insurance person and tell them, hey, I'm running a camp. I just want some basic protection and liability, and they'll go and research and they'll find a program for you. And it shouldn't be too much. Ask your park if you're doing through Parks and Rec, lots of times Parks and Rec will cover you. So ask them about that. They may or may not. They may already have it. Some do it, by class, some do it by annual. Mine's annually because I do classes at different times. So, yeah. Does that answer your question, Dave? Cool. All right, Lisa, can you define what blocking is? Yeah, blocking is basically where people are on the stage. When you come in, when you exit, do you want to be downstage? Do you want to be backstage? Are you down center, down left, down right? That's blocking. In my plays, I am not critical on the blocking whatsoever. But I do make sure they all come in on the same side. You don't want the wolves to come in from random directions if you're doing Jungle Book. So you kind of want to work with that, but blocking is just kind of where you are on the stage. That's really what it means. Coltrane, how you doing? I do this through Parks and Rec, St. Paul, Minnesota. Over the years, I have changed or charged 100 for the week-long camps. How would you suggest increasing prices? You just bump it. I was 100. I was 100 and 200 2 years ago, and I just moved it to 225. This year I'm doing 250. Um, and it's a supply and demand thing. If you have a list that's always coming, you can bump it up. And so you might want to bump it to 150. I mean, $100 for a week-long camp is honestly super cheap. And it's up to you. Are you doing this just for your own? You want to give a place for the kids, someplace to go, and there's parents get some buy-in. Are you doing this just to make some money? It's up to you what you want to charge. I'm not gonna judge you if you want to charge less because I can't tell you how many people charge nothing, how many people charge like $25, barely enough to get by, and some people charge 300 or 400 because they're in a market that can pull that. So it's really up to you, but I would bump it. I mean, especially 100, and St. Paul, Minnesota, that's a pretty big city. I mean, I think you can get away with 150 to 200 pretty easily. Um, Hope that answers your question. Are you providing all of the costume pieces and props, or are you asking the students to provide some of their own? Kind of both. In my mind, I have it set up that I'm providing all because they don't expect them to. That's part of the material fees. That's part of what I'm getting paid to do. If you're doing $25 per kid, you're telling the parents ahead of time, hey, you're going to help me make costumes, or sometimes I do costumes with the kids. I'll buy a bunch of masks and pens for Romeo and Juliet for the masquerade ball, and they'll do it as an art activity. For Caesar, and they do wreaths, I'll get printouts of little leaves, and they'll cut them out, and then they'll color them, and they'll glue them on with hot glue guns. And yes, the kids will burn their fingers with hot glue guns. Happens every time. Doesn't matter how much you tell them. So yeah, so it's up to you. Lots of times kids want to bring in their own costumes. There's a lot of drama geeks out there like us. So yeah. David, any recommendations for easiest payment and sign up platforms, not going through Parks and Rec? I know I could use Venmo or PayPal, ordering might work best for parents. That's a challenging one. I have my website set up, so it's easy for me just to make something like that. I think Eventbrite you can do, and I don't think they charge. I haven't done Eventbrite for a while. I did it a long time ago when I was before my website. But you can. I think there are some free services that allow you to do that. So just kind of look into that free service Eventbrite type place. But I've had one teacher, she did a super simple website. I think it was like Google Pages. I don't even know if they still do that anymore, but it was like email me and Venmo me, or PayPal. It was super simple. And she says, you will confirm your spot once I get a payment, or you can pay me the day of, but you may lose your spot. And it's up to your comfort level and how you feel about it. Um, how many months out is ideal for summer camp to be? Oh, geez, great question. I forgot to, Anya, thank you. I forgot to actually say this. Parks and Rec, and you'll talk to parents, they're starting already to figure out their summer plans. I know for me, I've signed up for a zoo camp already, and a surf camp for my son has already sign-ups have already started. So my personal Parks and Rec, it's still another month and a half away, but I'm sending an email, like a save the date email, to my parental database so they know what weeks to save. Um, but it is very soon. It is within the next 30 days. You want to get those parents, you want to start being that bug in their ear to let them know. Um, and again, depending on your reputation, you might sell out like that. It may take you a while up until the last final days with Parks and Rec. But lots of times, if I have empty spots on my follow-up camps, um, the first camp will sell them on it, and the kids will be like, sign me up, and they'll sign up for the other camps. Though I told you what were the easiest camps, the most popular programs that I have, Alice in Wonderland, Wizard of Oz. By far, those are the most popular. So if you want to get kids hooked, you do that one first. Then do your Caesar afterwards or something else, because you're going to get a lot of signups for Wizard of Oz and an Alice in Wonderland, maybe a Peter Pan. But once you get them hooked on you, then you can say, hey, come over to these. So it is good to do a popular one first. Again, it's your call how you want to do it. If you're not sure, email me separately. We can talk separately. We can figure this out. Um, where can we find the slides and recording of the seminar? I will send those out afterwards. The slides will be in the recording. I won't send the slides themselves, but I will send the recording of everything so you can go through that. Um, that's about it. Any other questions right now? All right. Cool. All right. Um, guys have fun. Thumbs up. Cool. Thank you so much. Again, I'm literally available anytime. If you need a separate time to talk on the phone, we can definitely do that. I'm always available. I've done tons of these. I can help you think through things if you haven't done it before. That's about it. So the most important thing is you have fun. So you're welcome. All right. Well, then I will talk to you all later. Have a good evening. Thank you for sharing your time and spending it with me, and I'll get this out. All right. Take it easy, people.